to Green TV, bringing you the latest in Arsenal footballing news and update. Landed on my channel, like, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Match day 25, Arsenal v Man City, 1-0 to Man City. It was a game of defense. It was a game where the best defense won. It wasn't an attacking game per se. It was a game where City scored the early goal and they started with full intensity, full energy, full gear, full, everything basically. And we were not ready. That first 2 minutes of the game, we were not, I don't know what we were doing, but we were not ready. And ultimately, the fine margin in footballing games won. A calculated point of play is what won the game the game today. Tactical masterclass, you might call it, but that is what ultimately won the game today. City didn't really go up in gears. They didn't, and we've made a mistake at a point where we should just try and start the game slowly, try and start the game in a manner where we could just, ride out the first maybe 5-10 minutes and maybe ride out any waves that they might have brought. City will bring because they are the champion. They play attacking pep football. And we know this. We know that the passion, the intensity, the style of play that City bring, they will control and dictate the game of play from their midfield, and they will dictate a game usually in the first 20-30 minutes. And for some reason, we just decided to turn off. I look at the goal, and the ball was switched over to Tierney's side of play, to Mahrez. And one thing that was a constant throughout the whole afternoon is once City players had the ball from midfield and they were running at our defense, our midfield, we always backed off. We back off. Like we're not meant to tackle. And that's ultimately, you do that if your defense is as, great as City's defense. But it's not. And by the time Tierney goes into tackle, Mahrez has whipped in a ball. At this point, I can excuse Tierney because he's come back from 3-4 weeks out. And this is his second game. So I wouldn't really criticize him that much because, to be honest, all our attacking threat literally came from him and Saka on that left-hand side. So I'm not really going to, criticize him for much, but he could have done better in terms of getting tighter before Mahrez whipped in that cross. Maybe this is where a difference of a right-footed player, with Suarez, if he was in there because he's right-footed, he would be able to, maybe just block that or maybe get a little bit closer to him because Mahrez is going on the inside rather than on the outside, being a left footer. And at that point, I'm looking at Holden and I'm looking at Bellerin. Communication between the two of them. Bellerin, Holden, and I'm looking at my keeper, Leno, to communicate that, okay, look, Sterling is in the middle of both of you. Sterling is not even up to 5'9", if I'm correct. How Sterling can get above a player who's 6'2", 6'3", two players, at the 6 foot mark, and not just heading a goal, but heading a superb header. That was a superb header. From someone who really doesn't score a lot with his head, that was a superb header. And he gets in between your central defender, Holden, Mari, and Bellerin. Mari not really to blame because he's on the left-hand side, but you have Mari, not to blame because he's on the left-hand side, but you have Holden and Bellerin, who between the two of them could not communicate, and the gap was so huge. And most of the first half, when City attacked, they attacked from that Bellerin side, and they dominated and dogged Bellerin. They switched to the opposite flank, But this is where you see the difference. Pep's tactics was to keep his two wide men as wide and spread that pitch as far as possible. On your left-hand side, you had Sterling, and Pep has told Sterling, you dictate the play. You come in and play your 1-2 so you can get into the box. You take on the fullback. Because it was Bellerin. One-on-one, Bellerin is not a good defender. So to leave Sterling out there just goes to show how Pep already knew our weaknesses. And then you look on the left-hand side where Tierney was, and you can see that anytime Mahrez tried to cut in, he had support from Gundogan, or he had support from Fernandinho, or someone there to support him, basically. Because you knew that you're not going to get that much joy from that left-hand side, which they really didn't, apart from the first mistake that we made in the first half. And I look at the game and I just think that was genius. Exploit the fullback, because defending one-on-one, they're really not that great. And this includes Tierney. He's not that great defending one-on-one, but attacking and going down forward, he is phenomenal. And City exploited that for the first 30 minutes of the game. And I think after that, they kind of chilled and just thought, you know what? These mandems are not going to even bother coming down to us. They're not going to even bother being on our level. So let's just chill. And that's what we did. And, the last 10 minutes of the first half, we started to try and get into the game. We had a little bit more possession. But let's be real, we had possession with no penetration. I don't think I remember seeing Edison save a shot. So it was pointless. And then you go into the second half, and you could tell the City players became so lackadaisical. They were so... That's how to the point where it got to. They became complacent. And I just sit and I just think to myself, wow, City have got 3-4 gears to go. We don't even have a gear 2 to go to. And this is where I go back to the manager. If plan A is not working, why don't we have a plan B or plan C? We don't have that. We don't have that. We had more possession in the second half, but no penetration. I think we had maybe one shot in the second half, or 2 shots to disturb their defense. But their defense was rock solid. And it's been rock solid for the past 17, 18 games. So let's not get, gassed. But this defeat was not a Man City coming to Arsenal and defeating us. Once again, it was Arsenal defeating Arsenal. It's pure defending mistake that cost us the game. Nothing more, nothing less. A tactical masterclass that forced the weaknesses of our players, which they duly obliged to, and now we lost that game. And you go 1-0 down against, the champions elect to be. You're not. It's a really hard thing to come back from. And you look at the players that we have. You look at your Aubameyangs, and your it was so ineffective again today. When he scored a hat-trick, I was happy for him. I was happy. But it's one of those things where you can't be over happy because it's false hope. It's a facade. Big players turn up in big events. They shine. They desire the spectacle. And it just didn't come up today. And to summarize how bad it was, when he finally had the chance, I think it was in the 85th minute or so, and he took on one-on-one with Stones. He outpaced Stones on the left-hand side, and I think he wanted to cut back in, and Stones just out-muscled him. Completely out-muscled him. And it just goes to show that something's not right for me. I didn't believe the attacking front four, shall we say, was the right balance. Odegaard reminds me a lot of Ozil. Sideways, backwards, sideways, backwards. When he does try to play it forward, it's a misplaced pass. But then again, that comes with you playing against a great team. And yes, I get that, Man City, the way they set up perfectly to stop any of those little through balls that we might have done. But even the little passes here and there was still misplaced passes where you could have done better. And it's my point. You know, Emil Smith Rowe came on the last 20 minutes. We're playing ManCity, and the way we're going to play, you know their defense is tight. I would not have played Aubameyang down the middle. I would have started with Lacazette down the middle because his hold-up play, his ability to link players and draw players to him is so much better. His touch is so much better than Aubameyang. Aubameyang does not have that much of a touch and technique to hold play. His play is to run in behind players. That's his game. If you are not going to play to that, you are wasting Aubameyang. You are wasting the opportunity to get 3 points. He was ineffective today. I honestly would have played Pepe on the left where he's been doing well, Saka on the right, and I would have played either Emil Smith Rowe in the middle, right there, and Lacazette up. I would have done that because, like I said, you're playing a team where you're required to keep the ball and hold the ball as much as possible and create, almost incision passes. You need energy, you need directness. We just didn't get that. Aubameyang didn't provide that. Pepe was lost on the right-hand side. He was anonymous. So many times Bellerin overlapped him. He just backwards or held onto the ball for too long. And we inflicted this damage on ourselves when we didn't really have to. That's the frustrating part. ManCity didn't beat us. We beat ourselves. The manager, once again, making substitutions at the 75th minute. You're 1-0 down. It's not working. Change it. Pep was already changing, even though it was working for him. It was working. They were 1-0 ahead. Pep was already making changes at the 60th minute. Why we are losing and you're coming up and making substitution at the 75th minute is beyond me. You need players to be able to grow into the game. You don't just expect an impact just like that. Especially when you're playing the champions to be. It's not going to work. You need time for the players to go into the game. The earlier, the better. I've said this before and I'll say it again. In terms of management, Arteta is making his mistakes and using Arsenal to learn. And now we've got a run of consecutive games to show, okay, look, I think we've got Leicester next? Leicester a different proposition because they will let us hold the ball. But again, our weaknesses will get exploited with their wingers. Where it's literally your wingers wide and you've got Vardy in the middle. So it's just frustrating. We're not losing because we didn't lose today because we were bad or because ManCity turned up. We lost because we lost the game in the first minute. And against a team who have won 17 games in a row, it's very hard to come back from that. It's not much we can say. We just have to hope and pray that on Thursday we can turn up because we miss out on Champions League football next season. There is a big problem. I'm sorry, there is a big problem because it just means now that Arteta has been at the helm for 18 months and what improvements have been made. We might have improved in terms of trying to get rid of deadwood players and things like that and maybe the culture of the club a little bit, but you just have to start judging it at this point now. That, okay, look, what have you brought to this club? I've been one that was not against his appointment, but not for his appointment. And I can see what he's trying to do. But at the same time, football, like I keep saying, is very simple. And we just overcomplicate things sometimes. We don't need to do that. At the end of the day, let's just hope we can beat Benfica. Because right now, in terms of the league, good thing is that some of the teams above us are losing. And the gap is still not that great. I think it's 9 points. But the amount of games that we're having can prove otherwise. So let's just hope and pray that we can pick up some points because now we're just losing back to back to back. That's what? 3 losses now, or 2 losses and... No, that's 3 losses and a draw in the last 4 games. It's not good enough. Guys, like, share, comment. Most importantly, subscribe. Till the next time. Let's get it.